Hello, welcome everybody. I am so excited to have you guys tune in today to our podcast. Welcome to Messages from the Divine from Speak Up and Empower. I'm excited to announce a guest. Some of you know her, some of you may not. Her name is Lynn Weemis, and she is a preventive healthcare practitioner for over 20 years, guys. So we've got a good one here today. She's going to answer some questions about this new equipment that she has that I personally have used. I'm going to speak a little bit about how many of you are a healthcare practitioner, like that you guys have been in the health field, suffer from headaches, migraine, stress due to your job, your family, work-life balance, and how many of us have just kind of awakened, and how many of us are suffering from insomnia, tummy aches. We all know when we get stressed, we bring on the tummy aches, and we just don't feel well. And we went to doctor after doctor, and we get a turnaround. We get the circle, and we never ever get answers, or we get sent home with a bunch of medicine. And who wants to stay on pill after pill after pill? It just doesn't feel good. It's not comfortable. And face it, guys, as we're getting older, we just can't depend on 100% the medication these days. We never know when we're going to get it. We don't know if it's in stock. We just don't know. So I'm excited today to say I've got some answers for you. And I think we've got a solution to maybe some of those problems that you've just got fed up with and you're tired of and you just want to start over. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about why I met Lynn and why I went to her. And some of you know me as a faith-based psychic medium. And my concern at the beginning is I had suffered from a trauma. And how many of us have suffered from trauma, guys? A lot of us. And we've lost loved ones, family members. And sometimes our system takes a hit. And I think that's what happened to me. My system took a crash. I went from doctor to psychiatrist to counselors to therapists, and I just didn't get any solution. I just kept feeling yucky. So lucky for me, through the Speak Up and Empower platform, I was able to meet Lynn. And guys, I gotta tell you, I love her. She is the sweetest person ever. She will spend time with you and get to know you and get to know what's going on with you. And so I'm gonna start by kind of talking a little bit about how she helped me. So the equipment that she has, which we're going to totally give her the platform in just a sec. And she's going to go over what the equipment kind of does for us and how it analyzes us and our systems. But I got a little bit of a workup not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. And she put me on the system. And I got to tell you, I was skeptical, guys. So if you're somebody that you don't understand, somebody that you're not too sure, what am I doing? How does this work? You just got to trust in the process. Trust that you're tuning in to us today on our show. I am actually late today, guys, because we're supposed to be doing 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. But just because she is so busy, I ended up getting her a little bit later in the day. But she's here now, and she's going to answer some of our questions. So she has helped me start to figure out some of my tummy problems. And I'll say, if you don't want to try, and if you feel comfortable in your current style and you don't want to have this new way of being, then this isn't for you. This is only for people who want change, who want to take that step, that leap of faith, and fix themselves and get out of their yuckiness feeling, their insomnia, their tiredness, just their day of not feeling well. So Lynn, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, honey, and let's talk a little bit about how did you analyze me? So I'm long distance, if any of you guys don't know. So I am based out of Seattle, Washington, and she is from Canada. So I'm going to let her say, how exactly did you analyze me? Let's start with that. What do people do to get the process started?
Okay, so I have some very sophisticated digital equipment, and there's not a lot of it around the world. It is available globally, but I think worldwide there's only about 1,500 practitioners that have this equipment, probably because it's so expensive. And the other thing too is belief systems, because whenever you introduce anything new that's related to health, there's always this little bit of skepticism that takes a while to get through to people, right? Mm-hmm. And so how can digital equipment, and this is specifically called a digital information field analysis, how can a piece of digital equipment interpret how somebody is functioning health-wise? So I want to explain that everything in life has a frequency. And these frequencies have been measured for many years. We're talking 40, 50 years, even for the research that's gone into this particular equipment, right? And how it works is they've measured organ frequencies and realized that healthy function vibrates at certain levels, right? So, and for each system, and every system is connected, right? If one system isn't working, it can affect 2 or 3 more systems in one of 2 ways. One is that the other system starts to overwork to carry the load of the system that's not down, right? Or it will totally shut off perfectly so that nothing is happening, right, in that system. And we don't want either of those. So we have what's called underregulated systems and overregulated systems. It can be one of 2 things. So how this works is these frequencies have been programmed into software, right? It has what's called a quantum physics interface. And that's a complete lesson in itself, teaching somebody how quantum physics works. So I don't want to get into that, but there are TED Talks on it. So if you want to go and check out TED Talks, there's a couple of really good ones in there. But basically how it works is it takes your frequency, the person's frequency, and that can be in person. We can put your hand over a very sophisticated piece of equipment, and it will measure your personal vibration, what you are vibrating at, what your particular frequency is. That helps us. Or we can use hair. And so in this instance with Kim, we used her hair. And we put the hair into the system, and then that is her. That's Kim. No one else has that, right? That's how it interprets. How does it work? I want you to think of it this way. It's kind of like, the best way to explain it is like a TV. You have a TV in your room and you turn the TV on and you get a station. There's no wire from your TV going to where that TV program is coming from. Right? Does that make sense, Kim? Yep. So what's also the way that it does that is it's being sent out as a frequency, as a wave or a pulse, or from a tower, right? And so it finds you. And a lot of people say, well, how can this work? Well, how does that work? How does that travel through the air and get to where it needs to go? And what's even more sophisticated, if you look at it a bit more in depth, is that not only when you turn that TV on, do you have one channel, you can just flick a button or click a button, and now you're into a different channel. How does it know to go from one channel to another? Do you see what I'm getting at here? Right? It's because it's a different frequency, or it's on a different channel, right?
Kind of like the big harpoon boats that do wells, that send out a certain frequency to the wells so that they can, and we're not touching them. There's no wires from the ship to the well, but they can feel that frequency and say, back off, I don't need that. So that's a really good way, and that travels all through the waves and the frequency, right? So that gives a good idea also to show people that you can tap the frequency and not have to be hooked up to anything.
Right, exactly. And so, basically I say to people, well, you're the tower, right? When we, analyze this, or we send out a pulse wave, you are the tower, you are the receiver. right? So it's, and I have to be honest, I was skeptical too. I was introduced to this by a very, very good friend, and I traveled quite a bit to go see it. And I was extremely skeptical because you have to remember, I come from a Western background. So I worked in Western medicine for 20 years in many different capacities, from teaching to, working in offices to working in hospitals, and then got sick and realized that Western medicine was not going to save me. The specialists couldn't even figure out what was wrong with me. I called myself the canary. I don't know whether you've ever read that book, The Canary Syndrome, but it basically means that I am more sensitive to a lot of things than a lot of other people are. Right. And I think there's a lot of us out there that are more environmentally sensitive and all those kinds of things. And nothing worked for me. So I had to start going to look for alternative therapies or different modalities to try and save myself. What ended up happening was I didn't have a lot of success at that, so I went back to school. And that's just who I am. I'm a solution finder. So if there's an issue and no one can fix it for me, then I'm going to go and find the solution. No matter what it takes, I just will never quit. And so I saved my own life through natural therapy. So I was critically ill for 2 years. I mean, I had tubes everywhere. So I had a reason to do this. I had a reason to search for different things. And from there, I've been on a 20-year journey looking at a ton of different modalities. I've been a specialized kinesiologist, meaning I've done muscle testing using it as a biofeedback mechanism. I've worked in a herbal laboratory, so I know all about herbs and when they should be harvested and how a lot of people aren't harvesting them at the right time. So there's no chemical constituents in there that really is needed to heal you. So, and in all the years, to be honest, I've realized that this is so incredibly accurate. There's a lot of good tools out there. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that use frequencies and other types of energy medicine per se to get people better. And they're very good. But what I find with this is it gives us an opportunity to actually see which systems are imbalanced. And I use the word imbalance because I'm not a medical doctor. I never pretend to be one. My job as a preventative healthcare practitioner is to find the root cause. That's my main mission when I have a client that I'm working with, and then deal with that root cause to the best of my ability. What's great about this is that it allows us to know that there are certain frequencies that will actually help balance things. So I want people to understand that normally when we're looking at analyzing somebody, we're looking at what level they're vibrating at in a particular area. Right. And it looks at everything because it basically is where body and mind meet. Right. Because we're more than just matter. We're more than just, our physical anatomy. We're electrical beings. Right. And so we want to basically take a look at the whole picture. And that's what's so good. If you're not vibrating at the right frequency, if anything is under 20%, which is our kind of number that we look at to say, let's keep them, at this kind of vibration so that we know that if they're exposed to certain things, they have a better chance of fighting it off, right? Mm-hmm. And if we keep things vibrating at the right frequency that we now know scientifically that this is what is needed to keep your cells healthy, then we have a better chance of keeping you healthy or helping you return to homeostasis, right? Keeping things balanced. That's our ultimate goal.
So as you're working with somebody and as you're putting them on the proper frequency, you are continuously doing checks to see what's happening. Are you going up in your numbers? Is something adjusting? Are you going down so that you can keep an eye on it? So one of those questions is, do you use the same samples continuously, or do you have to have new samples? How does that part work?
Okay, so So if a person is here, it's very easily because we can always reanalyze them. But once we have your frequency, it should be the same. I mean, we can take new samples. If we're doing distance, for example, we have to use hair. The borders are closed. We didn't have any choice with you. It wouldn't be the ultimate choice, but the one thing I'm learning since lockdown is that it's still extremely accurate. I mean, it's certainly not what I would ever have chosen. I'm definitely used to being a hands-on practitioner. That's definitely, where I've been over the last 20 years. But I'm starting to realize that it's not totally necessary, that this can be done virtually, it can be done at a distance, and it is affordable.
Right.
So yeah, how does it work is we do the initial analysis. We reanalyze every month. The cost for the analysis, is very good. And you can go to my website, which is, we're just building a new website.
It's well worth it, guys. I'll tell you, it's well worth it.
Yeah. And I want you to remember too, that I do have a physician advisor that works along with me. So for example, I had a client yesterday that I have some really strong concerns about. And so the physician will be involved with that. There will be tests that will be ordered by that physician, but he's, he practices at a distance, but it's great to know that we have that backup. So it gives us, if I can find things in the equipment that I'm concerned about, and I want to make sure that we're on the right track and that we're using the right pulses or the right remedies, then we can utilize him to actually get what we need, right? So, and that's included in the fees. There's no extra charges for that. So yeah, we're really excited about knowing that we will be able to help a lot of people and the type of people is exactly what you said, Kim. We're definitely saying, are you tired? Are you losing hope? Have you given up on ever believing that you will ever be healthy again? These are the people that we want to help, because that was me. Right. That was me. With all the experience and knowledge I had in Western medicine, I couldn't heal myself with what was available to me. Or you're a person that doesn't want to run the gamut of medications. Right? We don't want to be on medications for the rest of your life to control something. There's a lot more to this clinic than just the equipment itself. We teach a lot about the chemicals in the food, the difference between staying acidic or and being more alkaline, all those kinds of things. So we look at the whole picture.
And I'll tell you guys, from a mom to other moms to people who are just in a fast-paced life, we all do it, guys. We always go for those boxes or those cans or those quick fix meals. And I got to tell you, there's preservatives in there. There's added stuff in there to keep those things on your shelf. And sometimes we may not get the effects right away. It may take years. It may take months. We don't know. Everybody's body's different. But we eventually will start to say, my tummy hurts, and you'll get out those antacids, or you'll take ibuprofen a little bit more often than normal. That means if you're popping pills like that and you're having to use pills on a daily basis, something's going on. And the good thing about a different kind of better clinic is she will give you, when you do the analysis, you will get this huge workup about what's going on with your system at the moment. And that itself is worth the price, guys, just so you can get a rundown of what your system's doing. And I'll tell you that me going after doctor and being told you're not quite on that borderline, or you're right there at the edge, and feeling like you kind of have to be at your wit's end, completely kind of, I wouldn't say death's door, but pretty close, because that's how I felt on many, many occasions. And you get your turnaround as if you're saying something that they just can't analyze. This equipment can find some of those things, because she's testing in a huge variety instead of just saying, I'm going to do this one panel, which is testing 3 things or 4 things. And then we have to look at the aspect of, how is our system at the moment? Is our system at the moment inflamed? Well, it depends on when we go to the doctor, guys. Are you inflamed at the moment you go to the doctor that you get those test results? Or do you go home thinking, kind of like what we had as a mom? Like, for example, I've had my child cough and cough and cough. And we've all had sick kids. Then we take them to the pediatrician and they don't cough. They just cough on. And it's like, come on, cough for mommy. You coughed all night. I was up all night. So we all go through that part where we're like, just believe me, please. I have something to say, believe me. I had incidences where my hair would fall out and I just simply didn't know what was I doing wrong. And I knew that I wasn't holding iron, but I didn't know how to add iron without causing me more tummy upset. So it's things like that. It's things that can trigger you, things that sometimes with me, when I did the workup with her, it was amazing the allergies I had. These were things I was taking not just once or twice a day, but were in my daily occurrence. Every meal I was adding these things, and here I was allergic the whole time. So we don't have to suffer. We don't have to go through pain. Allergies, oh my gosh. Sometimes allergies, we think they're outside, they're grass, they're dander. But there can be food allergies, which she pointed out to me, food allergies that can cause so much mucus, so much congestion that we think it's environmental when sometimes it's not. So that's really cool on its own, just to be able to see that inside and kind of walk down that path. The equipment's really, really awesome for that. And I would highly suggest everybody at least get that analysis, take that first step. And then if you feel like it's not for you, okay, but at least try it and see what comes up, because you'll be shocked.
Yeah, and I want to actually, that's a good topic that you brought up, the allergy thing, because a lot of people think allergic means an anaphylactic reaction, where the throat closes, but you can have a sensitivity, and that's more what we deal with. We're looking at how foods are affecting your body, whether they're actually causing the inflammation, whether they're creating the mucus. But you have to remember too that if you keep exposing your body to something that your body doesn't like, what it will do is actually create mucus to try and protect you. It's actually your body's own way of trying to protect you, right? By creating that thick mucus. So yeah, and what does cause that? A lot of the time it is dairy, right? That can cause that with people, but it can also be other things as well. And it's nice to have an opportunity to be able to actually see what's happening. I do want to point out too that, digital equipment is only as good as its user. Okay, so would I have even attempted to use something like this 20 years ago straight out of school? Absolutely not. I think what gives you a little bit of a heads up is that, when you work in the natural health care field for many years and you've had many, many people come in front of you with many, many different symptomatologies, you tend to learn what works and what doesn't. I mean, there's so many different product lines. There's professional lines. There's network marketing products that actually I use 2 or 3 of them because they're absolutely incredibly good. So I don't care where it comes from if it does the job. A lot of people say, oh, well, is that from a network? Well, you know what? It tests well, it works well, and that's what you need. It doesn't matter where it comes from. What matters is whether it's going to do the job or not, right? So we need to stop that negative connotation of these people are only out to make money. Most of them, there are bad in everything. Most of them are actually trying to help because they know what that product can do for you, right? Do I use a lot of products now with this equipment? Absolutely not a lot, to be honest, because the equipment does most of the job for us, right? And all those frequencies are in there too, all the minerals, the vitamins, the supplements. The reason I love that is because the one thing I did learn over the last few years is that digestive dysfunction is huge in North America and probably worldwide now. We know that in 2013, there was a study done and 95% of the population was sick. So 95% of the world is sick. That's sad. That's sad. And, what causes that? And it's a whole bunch of different things. It could be, stress, environment, food, viruses, bacteria, all those kinds of things. So we have to look at everything when we're looking at a person to figure out which one of those things is the biggest problem in that person. Which one? And the cart before the horse type thing, right? Or horse before the cart. Got that the wrong way. You have to look at those things and go, which thing? But I did learn and have learned that if we fix one major problem, the small ones will usually work their way out on their own. And I'm seeing that with this equipment, because now we have, a way of actually seeing the difference in the changes in the body as they're happening. And it sort of tells us, well, wait a minute, I didn't do anything for that, right? Because we can only do so much at once, right? But next month, for some reason, that is now vibrating at the right frequency, but I didn't do anything. So I've always believed that we heal like an onion, like layers of an onion. You get rid of one layer and the next problem will pop up. Then you work with that. And then when you heal that, the next one will pop up, right? Until you've eliminated all of them one by one. But what I'm now seeing is documented proof that we are changing things, right? And it takes time. So yeah, I always tell people, even though you may show 10 things that need a little help, right? They need what we call balancing, because that's what we're doing. We're not medical, right? We're not giving you diagnoses. We're just saying this isn't balanced, right? This system isn't balanced. Let's see what we can do. And then let's see how that makes you feel once we do that. It's not something that happens overnight. We're looking probably, at least 6 months. Some people have said to me, well, I'd like to do this once a month for as long as I can, just because they want to know that everything, it's kind of like preventative maintenance. And I am a preventative healthcare practitioner. I would sooner prevent what's coming rather than wait till you have it and then have to deal with it, because that's a lot more difficult.
Right. The other thing that I want to point out that's really cool that I noticed with your system was, if you're a healer, if you're an empath, if you're anybody that's working into the spiritual realm, guys, and you know what alignment is, and you know what the chakra systems are, and you know how valuable those things are to have in alignment. If we're not in alignment in our throat chakra or our heart chakra, we will feel that physically. And sometimes insomnia is simply a balancing. Sometimes there's reasons in our heart that we have stress because we're holding so much. So what's really awesome is her system balances your chakras, guys. So what's really cool is she can show you your auras. She can show you your colors. She can show you your auric field, which is so amazing because that's very, very rare. I'll say that. It's very rare to get your auric field shown. And so to see the colors, to watch yourself be in alignment, to watch yourself grow is awesome. To be able to say, this is where I wasn't feeling well. So for those of you who are suffering from mindset issues, those of you who this isolation is getting to you, and you're a people person, and you just have to get that love out, or you feel like maybe there's no clients coming, or you're worried about your job. A lot of that will throw us out of alignment, guys, and that's just normal. That's just coping mechanism. And we got to get that back balanced. Otherwise, we put ourselves down into a big rabbit hole. And it creates other problems, because everybody knows when you have long periods of stress, you can get ulcers, you can get all kinds of things that happen in your system. We want to avoid that. And when you get in alignment, you just flow better, and your body just feels better. That's why we're so known as a society these days about Reiki medicine and long distance healing. So the great thing about, her clinic is, one of the things of why I wanted her to be a guest is to show you guys that this is a cool program to have to balance yourself, to get all the other health problems, and to just get your fix. You go to her one-stop shop. That's how I like to see it.
Basically, it. We also do the Meridian.
5 different people.
Sorry.
And I think that itself is worth it. And she herself doesn't do the Reiki healing, but the equipment, it measures where you are and what you need to remain. So that's what's really cool is she'll measure ahead of time, and she'll show you where you're off, and she'll show you, like, in a month's time, you guys can get a recheck and say, yes, I've been doing work. Yes, I've been getting my grounding in and my earth, and she'll see that, guys. So there's no lying, because, this equipment will show you, and it's like, you've been told. So it's a great program that everybody should at least look into, because right now, guys, all we have is our health. If we don't have our health, everything else is just, it doesn't flow. I mean, nobody wants to live in life with issues of not feeling well. And I know myself, it is one of those things that's hard to take that leap because you don't know. So give her the chance and talk to her. Let her explain any other questions. She's very open. I wish that we were doing the podcast kind of at our normal time, because then I could kind of allow you guys to ask her questions on live. So maybe, we'll bring that to you, and then we'll bring up in a group and allow you guys to ask whatever questions live, and she can answer your guys' feedback, or send them in the comments and she'll get to them whenever she can.
So one last thing from me. You brought up a really good point about, I want to tell people, usually when we get paid, the last thing we think about is our health.
Right.
Right. And when I got sick, critically sick, I lost 2 years of income and I lost everything. I had bankruptcy papers sitting on my table. And so you have to actually realize that we need to invest in ourselves first, because if we don't have the health, we have no income, right? And insurance companies, everything, they will do their best not to pay you, right? To get out of covering you during that illness. So it's way better to actually put a little bit of money out on yourself, invest in yourself each month to keep your health.
You're worth it. You're worth it. And if you have somebody that that is suffering from an illness of some kind, we're not saying 100% everything cures. So don't get us wrong here. We're not saying that. You could get on the equipment, find out it's not for you, and then go back to your regular doctor, whatever. Nobody's saying here that we want you to jump into her hands and say automatically positively stop your medicines. So we want to go ahead and work with her, and then with her extra consultant, then they can decide what you need to do from here on of what medicines may stick and what medicines may not, right? That's the great thing is she can manage that part. So those of you who are a little nervous to say, I'm not going to quit my medicine, once you work with her, there may be things that she still wants you to stay on. So we won't know until you work with her, because everybody's different. Everybody's systems are different. Right. So I think that another great thing that I want to bring to you guys is, she does have some great programs going on right now as far as what her analysis runs for. So go to a different kind of better, is it .com?
So it's a different kind of better.com, and then click on the clinic tab. The clinic website will be a different kind of better clinic.com. It's almost completely finished. So she just has to put in the packages, the bundle packages. I can tell you that right now there is a special. It's a 99 Canadian dollars for your analysis plus your first month of every day getting pulses out. That includes a 2-week follow-up as well, which is actually incredible. I know what naturopaths and a lot of these alternative practitioners are charging, but we want to help as many people as we can. That's our ultimate goal. And this, we want to make it so that everybody has an equal opportunity to get some help. Right. And then there'll be a 3-month package and a 6-month package, which, of course, if you're buying in monthly packages, then you're kind of saving yourself a little bit in the long run. But you can do it monthly.
Yep. And it's well worth it. And, me, myself, I'm on it. There's other people that I know also that are on it that love it. So it's worth a try, guys. And, if not to, look into that aura, look into that alignment, because that's worth it itself too. It's very important for us right now during all the chaos, to make sure that our health doesn't take a hit. And now we're doing everything virtual, which is really cool. I was so excited when Lynn said that they went ahead and did everything virtual. And change that over, because now that she's going to be able to help people from all over the world. So if you guys, want to work with her, she has that open now, which is awesome, because we all know that a lot of things are going virtual right now. So right now is a great way to not only say that I'm going to go with a big problem, but also to prevent the problem from happening. Check your allergies, check what's going on, check where, if anything, where you're at right now as far as preservatives and things in the foods. We can build up toxins to those types of things. It can throw us off. So some of those are common things that are really cool to know just in general, just to have an idea of how our system is and how our system is coping with stress and coping with different products and things that are out on the shelf now. And I've got to say myself that back in the older days, we didn't have to have so much work because we didn't have all this added stuff. And we were able to go out and farm, and we were able to, get our meat fresh and do all these things fresh. But right now, during the chaos, it's hard to do that. And I'll admit myself, sometimes it just takes a lot more time to cook those fresh meals than it is to, grab that box of macaroni and cheese for the kids. And it says whole grain and we're good to go. But we don't know what happens in the long term. And that's why it's something to look into now, guys, before we raise our children into getting used to the tolerances and getting used to these allergies. I know myself, I have a couple kids with asthma. So, avoiding some of the steroids maybe in the future is a good thing to do, to just kind of see, okay, maybe if I keep away from this and this and this allergy wise, maybe that'll calm down their system. So we're saving time in the long run too for our children who have to go in and out of doctor visits all the time and get poked with, how many is it, 20 pokes these days, and allergy shots, I think, just about.
I know when I started way back when, we used to give like 3 in an immunization. And I think the last time I heard it was up to 6.
There's a lot. Well, my son did I don't know, he did one that tested for environmental and some food, and he ended up, I think, was like total of 24 pokes. So, and then what they do is they take a ruler and they measure the size of your bump. And if your bump is bigger than what they consider normal, then they consider that an allergy. And I'll tell you guys what happened to me is I did that. And I'm a chronic allergy sufferer. And when I did that, I went in and I got all these shots, all these pokes. My shots didn't come back as inflamed. And my doctor, to me, the allergy doctor, said, oh, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to test a histamine and see if your histamine blocker is working. So he gave me another 15 pokes. And then he tells me I'm not a chronic allergy. He says, I have rhinitis, which is just, pretty much congestion. Yep. And I was like, wait a minute, come back in the room here. I'm not done. You didn't help me. And so sometimes those tests, I told the doctor I took an allergy pill the day before. You're not supposed to do that. And I didn't know that I was going to be poked that day. So those interacted. So a lot of times, sometimes we go to the doctor and they'll do this workup and the numbers just won't show. And that doesn't mean we don't have allergies or inflammations.
Well, the other thing too is they may not have tested you for the one that you are.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah.
And I wish I knew everything. I could say, you test this and you test that. And then the list would go on and we'd never be out of the doctor's office because,
that's right.
Guys, I'll tell you a little bit of personal information right there about me is I'm allergic to corn. And I would have been shocked if somebody would have told me I was allergic to corn. I would have said, no way. I don't have hives everywhere. I'm not acting out with corn. It's in my daily food. I cook it all the time for the kids. I love corn. And that came back as highly allergic. So we just never know what we're doing. We don't know all of a sudden what our system's doing. We may be eating just okay, but that tummy ache comes later on and we think, oh, what did we eat? We will never say that that's what it could have been. So that's what's great about her program. So I would highly recommend getting looked at and checked out.
Thank you.
So if you guys have questions or want to contact her, again, differentkindofbetter.com. And you're also free to leave comments or any questions you have, and she'll get back to you.
I'm also on Facebook under A Different Kind of Better. Okay. So you can message me through that as well if you have any questions.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get you guys the help you need. It's a phone call away, a button away, and we'll get you started. And I will even come back and bring her back in a little while. I have to wait a little bit until I'm on it for a little while, but I'll come back and I'll give you guys my update on how I feel. So I will kind of let you guys know how I've been feeling with the program the whole time too. So the update's coming your way. So stay tuned for that. And check her out. She does talks also. Do you do your podcast on Different Kind of Better?
Yeah, live at 5 on Fridays. Tomorrow we actually have Dr. Tom on, who's going to be talking about whether medical doctors and alternative practitioners can work alongside each other in some ways. And so that will be really exciting. So on A Different Kind of Better at 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time.
And it's great, guys, because she gives all kinds of different topics, and she just talks about different things that you can do, different things that are out there. So it's a really cool thing to tune into and to watch to get all that extra info. If you're somebody that likes to try new things, or likes to kind of get, a rundown of your system. So she talks about different topics. And so stay tuned tomorrow for her talk. And meet Tom, and you guys will love him because he is awesome. I have met him before. He is a sweet, sweet person. And sometimes we feel like we go from doctor to doctor and we get frustrated, but guys, this is the genuine guy. I'll tell you that these two together, they make an awesome team, and they will take the time to talk to you, to walk you through it, to fix it. And I've never met anybody better. So that's my recommendation to you guys today. Look him up tomorrow and then follow him from there on, and you guys will get a big introduction on what kinds of medicine he's doing and what he's doing right now. So I want to go ahead and end this talk today, telling everybody thank you so much for tuning in to us and tuning into our information. I know you guys are busy out there with all the beautiful sunshine. I know I've got it here in Seattle, Washington. I'm so excited. I'm lucky I'm not burned to a scorch because I've been eating up the sun. But you guys stay healthy, and stay connected, and stay safe. And I will bring you back another talk next Thursday, 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And another thing is I've got another talk coming. So it's a secret. But those of you who don't know yet, I'm going to be bringing on a whole other podcast called Trauma to Triumph. And I'm going to be interviewing survivors, trauma victims, anybody who have been through trauma in their lives. So that's coming soon. It's in the making. I'm excited for that. And stay tuned. And I'll see you guys again next week real soon. Bye. Love you all.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Thanks.